always love to hear Bob's thoughts there. Now the games. All right, Bob, let's start tomorrow. What game intrigues you the most? Oregon State, Loyola, Villanova, Baylor, Oral Roberts, Arkansas, Syracuse, Houston. Which game do you like the most there?
I think Syracuse Houston is going to be a very, very interesting game. I'm, as you know, in love with Loyola Chicago, so that's going to be a fun game to watch. But I think intriguing, if that's the word that we're talking about, Syracuse Houston. And the reason is that Syracuse is a zone team. They're the best zone team. And Houston is not a great outside shooting team, but they're a great offensive rebounding team. Now, in coaching thought, mostly, people say that you're better off playing man-to-man defense against a good rebounding team, a good offensive rebounding team, because everybody has their block-out responsibilities, okay? He's yours, okay? That's your guy. You get him, okay? If you're in help position, you get the guy who's on the weak side. You're responsible blocking him out. There's not – in a zone defense, there's not man-to-man responsibilities on blocking out. If you're close to somebody, you block out, but you rely on your athleticism and your size for defensive rebounding. So Houston could hurt Syracuse on the offensive glass if Syracuse is not up to par in terms of their defensive rebounding. But Syracuse also will give Houston's shooters a very hard time, and they're not great shooters to begin with. They don't have – like a lot of teams now have three guys in the game at all times who can make threes from long range. Houston does not have that. They have one or two guys, but they're not a great three-point shooting volume team. So that will be very fascinating to watch. And then I think Syracuse's offense, Buddy Boeheim has been playing great. And, Gerard is a great outside shooter. And they have guys who can take it to the basket. So, And Dolezaj, who is the interior guy, he looks like a toothpick in there. I mean, he's not one of these guys who seems to be in the weight room that much. But, boy, he knows how to play, both ends of the floor. He plays the middle of the zone, and he blocks shots occasionally, but he knows which guys – he reads the scouting report. He knows which guys he has to go up on which guys he can stay away from. And he is a very important player for them. Houston has Quentin Grimes, who is a transfer from Kansas, 6'5" wing guard type guy. He's a very, very good player. But they have three or four guys who Giroux is one, who's a mid-sized player also, who attack the glass. They put it on the floor. They'll try to get into the seams of the Syracuse defense and take it in there. But this is a 2 and I guess 11 Syracuse. But
I like Syracuse. I like Syracuse in the game. I like Syracuse in the game, Bob, don't you? You do?
I do, too. Yes, I do.
All right.
And after watching them the other night, I thought they were great.
I don't think Villanova, and I had Jay right on this week, and I love Jay. We all do. I don't think Villanova's got a chance against Baylor. What's your take there?
I agree. Baylor's better than Villanova. And if Villanova had Colin Gillespie, it would be a toss-up. Remember early in the year, Villanova was, a 1 seed or a 2 seed all throughout the year. And then they stumbled at the end, and they've been sort of 500 without Gillespie. Interestingly enough, remember Ryan Archidinaccio, who was a great player for them when they won the national championship. His brother Chris has taken over, playing about 15 minutes at the point guard spot. And Moore is also playing at the point guard spot. But that at one point was a position of strength for them, and now it's just a neutral for them. It's not a plus. And the best that they can hope for is that it's not too much of a minus. And Baylor on the perimeter is spectacular. Jared Butler, Maceo Teague, Mitchell. They are so good, and they lob the ball to the basket. Their front guys jump out of the gym. They are really, really a great offensive team. And so I think Villanova, they've benefited from upsets. They're in the Sweet 16, and I think they beat a 12 and a 13 or something, So they were benefited in that way. But I think without Gillespie, they're going to have a hard time with Baylor.
And I don't think Creighton's got a chance against Gonzaga. Let's go to Sunday. You agree with that too, or no?
Yes, I do. The thing is, I think this is going to be a very, very high-scoring game. Creighton is a terrific offensive team, and so is Gonzaga. But Gonzaga is better defensively than Creighton. Creighton shoots a ton of threes. This kid Zagorowski is the preseason player of the year in the Big East, and they got a guy named Mitch Ballack who can really, really shoot. They have one great defensive player named Denzel Mahoney, and he did a great job in their second game. Ohio U had a kid named Preston who lit up in their first game. A 6'4", wispy kind of guard, LaMelo Ball type guy, and Denzel Mahoney held him 1 for 10 from the field. So he's a great defensive player, but Gonzaga has so many offensive players that, who do you put him on? I mean, do you put him on Suggs, who's their point guard? Do you put him on Kispert, who's kind of the wing guy? He can't guard everybody. And then the other matchup that I think is in favor of Gonzaga is inside Timmy, who had 30 in their last game, against Christian Bishop, who's a good interior player, but I think Timmy's got so many more moves. So better offense by Gonzaga, even though Creighton's good on offense, and much better defense by Gonzaga compared to Creighton.
All right. I think Oral Roberts and UCLA, I think their run stop. I think the SEC will win both games with Arkansas and Alabama. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think, Oral Roberts has been a great story, but they're kind of a two-man. When you get to this level of play, they're kind of a two-man team. Max Asmus is the 6'1" guard who led the nation in scoring, and he's been great. And then the other kid named Kevin Obanor is even better than him, but he's an interior player. Arkansas has a lot of guys. They have depth, and Musselman has been a brilliant in getting transfers in there. They have a 7'3" kid who's had 51 blocks on the year, a kid named Vanover. Moses Moody is the name to know for Arkansas. He's a freshman and, likely a one-and-done type player. And then Justin Smith, who's oddly a transfer from Indiana, who started at Indiana and was a double-figure scorer, and he has blossomed at Arkansas, and he's playing great. So I would pick Arkansas in that game, even though Oral Roberts it too I think will be an entertaining and high-scoring game.
Alabama over UCLA, Bob. You agree?
I'm not so sure about that. I know that Alabama has the reputation of being great at both ends of the floor, and I haven't really seen that. In the second game, they played better, obviously, but the first game they struggled. And if Mick Cronin is a very good defensive coach, and if he's watching Pitino's way of how he defended the three in that game, and kind of pressured up really heavy duty on the 3-point shooters to make them take twos, not layups, but twos, the 15-footers. That's not their comfort zone. And I think, I know this is a little out of it, but I think UCLA has got a great chance against Alabama.
Wow, I'm
They're
surprised
feeling
by
good
that.
about themselves. They got to have a point guard named Tyler Campbell who's got, listen to this, 158 assists, 55 turnovers. I mean, that is fabulous ball handling. And when you're not giving the ball up against Alabama's pressure defense, which with him handling, they're not going to give the ball up much. UCLA is feeling good about themselves. I'm looking at this game, and I think it's a possible upset.
All right. Interesting. Couple more before you go. Quickly, Michigan, Florida State. I think that the problem is Michigan's physicality can match Florida State. I think Michigan wins. Your take there?
I agree. Michigan is they're playing better without their best player, Livers, than I thought they would. I'm very, very impressed with Juwan Howard's coaching. And they have several transfers who are playing big. Mike Smith is a transfer from Columbia. He's a graduate student who's handling the ball for them. And Wagner, who is the brother of the previous Wagner, who's in the NBA right now, 6'7", do-it-all kind of thing. And the guy who's the leading scorer on the team is a freshman who's a 7-footer, Dickinson. And, FSU has size. Koprivica, I hope I'm saying that correctly, is a 7-footer. So he's going to match up a little bit with Dickinson. But I don't think Florida State's offense is good enough to hold Michigan. I think Michigan, there may be stretches of the game where Florida State plays great D on Michigan and frustrates them a little bit. But I don't think they can do it for as many minutes as they need to. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if Florida State won, but I don't think it's going to happen.
All right, everybody seems to like Oregon, Bob, over USC. They played once. USC won by double digits at USC.
Yep.
Interest in Oregon when it gets it going is very tough. We saw it against Iowa. Big game for Andy Enfield. What's your take on the late game on Sunday night?
I think this is a toss-up situation in my mind. And early on, I would have picked USC, not only because they beat Oregon the first time, because sometimes that doesn't really have a lot to do with what you do in the tournament, but USC's interior game is superior. And the Mobley brothers, and they have backups for them. And the key player for them is Taj Edey. He played great against Oregon the first time. He's a perimeter player who can really score. I think he had 28 or something against Oregon the last time. They need him to score from the perimeter because that's not their strength. Oregon is a very well-balanced offensive team, and they have older players on their team. And you mentioned Iowa. I was very, very impressed in that game. Now, Iowa's defense is not as good as USC. USC protects the lane. But Oregon's a good enough shooting team to make shots from the perimeter. So this is difficult for me because I didn't do these teams, during the course of the season. I didn't announce any of their games. So I didn't get in depth with them as much as, I would like. So I'm a little perplexed on this one. I'm not sure I can call this one accurately.
All right, and then finally, your favorite, Loyola Chicago against Oregon State. I did not realize that the Oregon State coaches got Loyola Chicago roots, which is interesting. I don't think Loyola's going to lose this. I don't think Loyola's going to lose this game. I don't have a good read on Oregon State, but I think Loyola's got it going right now. I think they got a – now, listen, I think they got a very good chance. Now, they're in that bracket. Loyola doesn't have to deal with Baylor into the semifinals. I think they got 2 more wins in them. I think Loyola will turn around and beat Syracuse. I think Loyola's going to the Final Four, to make a long story short. Watch them lose now. But I think they're going to win these next 2 games, including Oregon State. What's your take on that? Let me hear.
Well, I think Loyola is going to beat Oregon State, and Oregon State is obviously a Pac-12 team. Ethan Thompson is their best player. His dad is Stevie Thompson. Remember him from Syracuse?
Sure do. The lefty Syracuse? Guard. Yes, I sure do.
Yeah,
yep,
he's on the staff at Oregon State as an assistant coach, and Ethan is his son and is the best player on the team. They have some big guys. Roman Silva's a 7'1" kid, and Krutwig is so good for Loyola, and Loyola is like a well-oiled machine right now. And I think Oregon State, very impressive. They beat Tennessee. I didn't think Tennessee, played very well, but they beat Oklahoma State. Now, Oklahoma State is a little bit more of a wild, wide-open sort of team. And Loyola is not a team like that at all. Loyola's Villanova, with everybody. That's the kind of team they are. Smart, share the ball, everybody can score, inventive on defense. Rebound just enough, force you into taking bad shots. The way that Loyola dismantled Illinois, if I'm Wayne Tinkle, the Oregon State coach, I'm watching that and I'm saying, oh, man, what are we going to do against these guys? So I'm a fan of Loyola, and I think that they're going to beat Oregon State.
Right. All right. You would be most surprised if which underdog won? Villanova? Creighton? Which one? One of those two. Which one would you be most surprised?
I think, either one of those two. I think both Big East teams, they're both 5 seeds, Villanova and Creighton, and they're both like 18th and 19th ranked in the country. But they're going against the 2 best teams. And I just don't see that happen. I mean, if there's an upset, I think it's UCLA, Alabama, and I think Florida State has a chance against Michigan. But if I had to pick an upset of these 8 games, I would pick UCLA, Alabama.
Good job, Bob. Hang loose. Have a good weekend. We'll get you in on Monday for a few minutes on the Final Four on the Elite 8 games. Always a pleasure. Did a great job today. Thank you very much,
Great
pal.
to see you. See you, Chris. Bye.